What really happened in Spencer Lofranco's final days? How did a young actor, once considered a rising star, end up gone at only 33? Who attended his private farewell? What did his family reveal? And what tributes have poured in from the people who worked with him? Today, we dive into the questions surrounding his last moments, his legacy, and the mystery that still surrounds his death. On November 20th, 2025, in British Columbia, Canada, Spencer Lofranco passed away. The announcement came from his brother Santino, who shared emotional family photos and a heartbreaking message. "You lived a life only some could dream of. You changed people's lives and now you are with God. I will always love you and miss you, Bear." The tribute stunned fans. The news spread quickly, but details remained painfully unclear. Authorities confirmed that his death was under investigation. No cause of death was released, no circumstances were clarified. Journalists reported that the investigation was active, but officials remained silent. For his supporters and colleagues, the lack of answers only deepened the grief. As the public tried to make sense of the tragedy, tributes began to surface. From fans who had followed his career since Jamesy Boy, from people who watched his vulnerable online moments, and from those who had worked with him years earlier. Many described him as talented, misunderstood, and deeply emotional. Some recalled meeting him on TikTok lives, talking about sobriety, regret, art, and redemption. Others remembered him as someone who struggled but never stopped trying to rise again. His family, meanwhile, chose privacy. As of now, no funeral plans, memorial details, burial location, or guest lists have been released publicly. Whether the family held a small private service or is still preparing a memorial remains unknown. What is clear is that they are grieving in silence, away from cameras and commentary. Even without public details, the emotional landscape around his death is unmistakable. Spencer's co-stars and collaborators have expressed shock and sadness. People who worked on films with him shared memories of a young man who was passionate about every role he played, who gave everything to the craft even when his personal life was chaotic. Some described him as one of the most committed young actors they had met. Brilliant, unpredictable, but undeniably driven. Spencer Rocco Lofranco was born on October 18, 1992, in Toronto, Canada. He grew up between the worlds of law and opera. His father was a lawyer, his mother an opera singer. He struggled in traditional school environments and was eventually moved to a military-style boarding school in his teens. Yet something about performance called out to him early. At 17, he made a decision many called bold, others called reckless. He wanted to be an actor. That dream led him to study at the New York Film Academy, where he began shaping his future. His rise was quick. In 2013, he debuted in the romantic comedy At Middleton, a role that earned him attention and even a Rising Star Award at the Denver Film Festival. A year later, he delivered the performance that many still consider his best, his lead role in Jamesy Boy, playing a troubled teen seeking redemption. That same year, he appeared in the Angelina Jolie-directed film Unbroken. He had star presence, drive, and undeniable talent. In the years that followed, he appeared in several films, including Dixieland, King Cobra, and the crime biopic Gotti, where he portrayed John Gotti Jr. opposite John Travolta. It was a major role, the kind of performance that can reshape a career. And strangely, it became his final film credit. After Gotti in 2018, Spencer drifted away from Hollywood. Behind the scenes, his life was complex. He carried personal struggles that were known to some but hidden from most. Early in his career, he had been involved in a hit-and-run incident that landed him in legal trouble and cast a shadow over his rising fame. In later years, he appeared less frequently in public and more often through short bursts of social media activity. Some fans said they saw a man trying to rebuild himself. Others saw a young artist wrestling with identity, direction, and stability. Those final glimpses of him online painted a picture of someone searching for a new chapter. Just 1 week before his death, he posted a black and white selfie. The caption was almost eerie in hindsight, raw, chaotic, but strangely hopeful. He wrote about removing a face tattoo, about starting over, about the best is yet to come. There was a wildness to his words, but also an unmistakable desire to transform, to reset his life. But anyone who followed him closely knew that Spencer's life had always been a tug-of-war between the desire to reinvent himself and the weight of the past that clung to him. He had moments of clarity, where he spoke openly about wanting to get sober, about wanting to create again, about dreams he hadn't given up on. These moments gave his fans hope. But there were also darker times. Times he disappeared from social media, times when friends quietly worried, times when signs of turmoil were visible between the lines. For many, his death didn't just feel like the loss of an actor. It felt like the end of a story that everyone was rooting for, a story they hoped would turn around at the last moment. Spencer was the kind of person people instinctively wanted to see rescued, healed, or redeemed, just like the characters he once portrayed on screen. As the investigation into his death continues, people have speculated, questioned, and tried to piece together the fragments of his final days. Was he struggling financially? Was he seeking a comeback? Was he surrounded by the right people? The truth is, no one outside his closest circle knows. And for now, the silence from officials has only fueled more confusion. Meanwhile, tributes from Hollywood remain reverent but cautious. Former co-stars have shared stories of him cracking jokes on set, improvising lines with surprising brilliance, or pushing himself physically to get a scene right. Directors recalled a young man who listened closely, who asked questions, who cared about the emotional truth of every character he played. One filmmaker described him as magnetic, unpredictable, and alive in a way that made you lean in. His peers mentioned that even when he struggled, his passion never dimmed. He carried a spark, a sort of restless artistic energy that couldn't be faked. It was the same spark that made Jamesy Boy such a compelling performance. It was the spark that made casting directors pick him out of countless auditions. It was the spark that left such a deep impression. Outside Hollywood, fans have shared personal messages, comments, and memories. Some recalled meeting him during quiet years when he interacted more casually with followers. They said he was kind, funny, and surprisingly open. He would talk about art, about music, about the frustrations of the industry, and about trying to find stability. He was flawed, honest, and remarkably human. His digital footprint, his final posts, his scattered live streams, his late-night reflections, has now become a kind of time capsule. People are revisiting his old videos, noticing details they never saw before. The way he spoke, the way he paused, the way he hinted at changes he wanted to make. It's as if the world is replaying his story, hoping to find a clue they missed. But grief has a way of distorting memory. Some see signs that weren't there. Some interpret his silence as a message. Some read his final caption like a riddle. And yet, the simplest truth may be this. Spencer was trying to find his way back, trying to rebuild, trying to believe in a better future. For a moment, he seemed to believe it himself. And then life, quietly and without explanation, stopped. In the end, his legacy is a complicated one. He left behind only a handful of films, yet those performances continue to resonate. His portrayal in Jamesy Boy remains a raw, emotional reminder of both his talent and his inner battles. His role in Gotti showed his range and intensity. And beyond the screen, he left pieces of himself scattered across social media, moments of honesty, vulnerability, and searching that many fans have held on to. His story is one of contrast. Early success and sudden retreat, promise and pain, hope and heartbreak. He was a rising star whose trajectory shifted too soon. He was an artist trying to reinvent himself, a brother deeply loved, a man wrestling with demons while still wanting better days ahead. As the investigation into his death continues, many questions remain unanswered. What exactly happened in his final hours? Was he alone? Was he trying again to turn his life around? Will the official reports ever fully explain what he was going through? And when the family is ready, will they share the details of his farewell, where he rests, who gathered to say goodbye, and what words were spoken for him? Until then, what we do know is this. Spencer Lofranco's light burned bright, even when flickering. His journey, a mixture of talent, turmoil, and tenderness, leaves behind a legacy that is far more human than Hollywood. A reminder that behind every rising star is a person, fragile and hopeful, fighting battles we may never see. May he rest in peace. May his story remind us of the importance of compassion. And may his family find comfort in the love the world continues to send.